on now? All right, hi everyone, I'm Sam, and again, I'm the president and founder of a company called DORIS. We do workplace research, and I'm actually here today to talk about collaborating on collaboration space, which is kind of interesting, right? So we're going to think about how can we, before we even start all this fancy collaborating, maybe we should think about how that space should even be built or formed to begin with. And so this is going to be kind of a how-to. You could maybe take this back with you and apply it to collaboration space around your office when you think about maybe you're going to make change to your collaboration space. Everyone makes change now and again to their space. You might be able to think about using this process. So before we get into sort of the how-to portion of this, maybe we want to ask ourselves the question, why do we even need collaboration space? Well, there might be a few reasons for that. So, maybe us individual contributor types, we might think, well, we need it so that we can innovate, right? Because we need to innovate to be effective at work. We constantly have to do that. Or maybe we just need to problem solve. We got to get a group of us together, and we got to, just kind of sit with our heads together and get this thing figured out, whatever it is that we're working on. Or maybe it's because we really, us millennials need to come up with the next big idea that's going to save this company from itself, and we need space to do that. Or in reality, maybe it's just that our leaders have decided that we need some new collaboration space, right? That happens a lot. Those people just kind of figure it out. Kind of like in Dr. Stilson's IBM survey, where leaders said, this is a big deal, we need this, so we're going to do it. So sometimes that'll happen, and when that happens, we go for it. So what do we do? Well, first we need to figure out what do we do when we know we need this collaboration space? Kind of what's the first step in this process? Well, maybe we just go online and we Google what does Google do for collaboration space? They maybe have some cool space. Maybe we'll just copy what they did. So then you have an accounting firm in Indianapolis, Indiana that has big blue letter G's and bright yellow O's all around their office, and the people come in and they're a little confused if they're going to get their balance sheet looked at or if something else is going to happen on a search engine. I don't know. So this could this is an option. You could go this route and you get your space to look like Google's. Or maybe you just go and look at the fanciest new technology company in town and you just copy their space. We'll just do what they did. You'll end up with a slide in the middle of your office, and people will be riding bikes around, but you don't know why exactly. But it's what that company down the road had, so we should probably have that too. Or maybe, if you're really smart, you could run a people-centered design thinking process to determine your unique needs, right? So this is sort of what I'm saying maybe is a good idea for you to think about. So you don't need what Google needs. You don't need what the next greatest technology company next door to you needs. You really need what your office needs. And you want to go through a process to figure that out, right? So we're going to get to this sort of how-to part of this. And if you remembered in Dr. Stilson's graphic again, the CEOs that were saying the top 5 things that they needed, if you read actually the top of that list was employee engagement was really important to them. How do we keep our employees engaged at work? Ask them about their space. Ask them what they need in collaboration space. It's a great way to keep them engaged and to have them actually work out something together. So how do we do this? Again, this is the how-to portion of how do we actually get together and collaborate on collaboration space. So this is how we would do it. So first of all, if you're going to collaborate on collaboration space, you need to get everyone organized. This isn't something that they've probably done every day. They're not always probably talking about their own collaboration space. So you need to kind of be a cheerleader at first and say, hey, people, we're going to do something here, and we're going to talk about our space. Let's get fired up about this. So maybe you want to hold a kickoff meeting. You can get everyone together and tell them kind of the facts that you know so far. Why are we doing this? Because the leader told us we need to do this, so we're going to do it. And so we're going to talk about our space. All right, so once you get past that, you get over the hump of you've got all these people that you work with, and you've helped them can get on the same page as you are. We're going to work on this space together. Then you need to start maybe finding out some facts about this space. So what do we actually do here? Maybe we don't need to go down a slide. So a couple things you could maybe do. You could interview some people who are collaborating with other people and just kind of ask them, how does it make you feel today when you're collaborating? Or you could actually go in and you could put your sleuthing hat on, and you could be your Nancy Drew and go actually watch some people collaborate and figure out what are they doing. Oh, the screen that they're using is never in the right place for them, or they need a quick plug and play or something. So you can start to watch, be very people-centered about gathering the facts about the way that people at your space work and collaborate. So here's some examples of a couple things. You could build worksheets, ask them questions. How much time do you spend in collaboration spaces? What kind of things are you doing there? Again, you're kind of trying to figure out what are they doing, how are they working. You could actually kind of, like I'm doing here, and really creepily walk around with a big camera and take pictures of people as they're working and figure out, through maybe an ethnographic, you put the word ethnographic before you're doing something like this, and people kind of let it slide. They'll think that you're an anthropologist, and there's no creepiness about that. But you could, again, walk around and kind of figure out what people are doing, so you can learn more about how they might collaborate. All right, so once you've figured out, yes, these people at this company do in fact collaborate that I work with, and we need to somehow, we have these facts, we need to straighten them out, we need to build something for them. You want to take all those facts and frame them into some kind of challenge that you could actually get that group to, come together and work on. So you've got all these people, they've told you a bunch of stuff, and you need to actually have them act on something. So how do you get them to do that? Well, first of all, and all of you technology people are thinking, is this girl crazy? She went completely analog here. There's no digital, technology at all in this picture. But this is sometimes a really simple way to take our facts, anything that we found out about when we were taking pictures of people or when we were asking them questions, and sort them out. We can cut them apart and figure out what are the problems or opportunities with our current space, what are opportunities we might have if we build something out in the future. It's really important at this point to understand the difference between what is a problem, what's an opportunity, and what's a challenge. You're ultimately, at this point, trying to frame a challenge. So a problem and an opportunity are statements of fact. Let's say my cell phone broke, which would be really unfortunate, but if it broke in this room, I bet you all could help me fix it, which would be awesome. But let's say it did break. A problem might be, oh, I'm angry. Now I can't make calls, right? Or an opportunity might be, I'm so excited. Yes, this gives me an opportunity to talk face-to-face with my family and friends. I'm so happy that this happened. Wonderful. Those are both, again, like I said, statements of facts. They end in a period, the sentence ends in a period or an exclamation point. But a challenge is something that ends in a question mark. And that's what we want to get people to be able to work on, right? So let's say, the phone broke. I might be able to frame a challenge up that says, how might I communicate with my family and friends? This is actionable. I can actually do something with this, or a group of people might be able to do something with this together. We framed this challenge in a way that we can have multiple solutions here. So I'm not just saying, how might I fix my phone? And maybe my answer is to walk, into the AT&T store and buy a new phone, right? Or find somebody who can fix the glass. Those are a little bit more narrow than how might I talk to my family and friends. I could get a lot of different answers from this question. But ultimately, what you're trying to do after you've gathered a bunch of facts about your collaboration space is frame up a challenge. How might we collaborate in a way that allows us to communicate with our colleagues overseas at this time of the day using this certain thing? There's all these things that you could figure out that you're trying to do. Frame that up. All right, so once you've framed up a challenge, you now have a sentence or maybe several sentences with question marks at the end of them, things that people can actually work on. Now you want them to generate. So this little gal up here on the screen with a sweatband, she's going to, kind of get you into shape. She's going to get you to get your ideas out and get excited about it. So you might get your group of people back together again, and what you're going to want to do at this point in time. So picture yourself at your office, and you have this question. You want to ask these people. You're going to maybe hold a session. You're going to bring some tools. Some tools might be M&Ms. M&Ms are really important when getting a group of people together to come up with ideas. That sugar rush is the best thing going. At our office, we happen to package them into these little bottles, and they look like medicine bottles. We call them Ideaprofen. People love that. Just gets them going. Also, sometimes we'll bring cards where they're diverging and converging, so we're helping people know, hey, when are you coming up with ideas? That's when you're diverging. When are you judging your colleagues' ideas and telling them how worthless they are? That's when you're converging, but you can't do the two things together. So we bring a tool to help people do that. There's tons of different tools you could come up with to help people work together and generate ideas for your sentence that you've figured out intelligently and framed up with a question mark at the end. So here's just a group of people. Give them tools. Give them if you're looking at floor plans, give them floor plans. If they're supposed to start to build stuff, give them construction paper. And they'll channel their inner preschooler and they'll get going on this. All right, so once you've actually established that you have some ideas for your new collaboration space that you're collaborating on, you're going to want to actually try it out. So perhaps you'll rapid prototype this, right? So you don't want to just go to town and call the contractor and have them build your collaboration space without you knowing for sure, is this even going to work? So rapid prototyping is something that can be done with really simple materials. Cardboard, foam, maybe some paper, maybe we're even using some found objects that exist. I'm going to show you a couple examples. This is our DORIS cam, because they're terrible photos we took with our cell phones, so we thought it would be clever if we just labeled them DORIS cam. This is a situation where a client of ours was trying to figure out a collaboration space. They wanted kind of a studio atmosphere. They wanted to be able to tack pieces of paper up on the walls. They just got foam from Lowe's, covered it in craft paper, and they had $60 later a makeshift tack board. They were trying out, does this work? Or do we just want to tape stuff right to the wall? They moved in a couple of tables they had. They wanted a table in the center of the room with some supplies, and they had all that, and they just kind of tested it in this open room they had in the basement of their office. Does this even work? Before they spent any money remodeling anything, they tested something by spending, like I said, I think about $60. You want to try and do something like this. Here's another example. For all you tech people back there, that's our DORIS television made out of foam board. It can fall off the wall, and it breaks 0% of the time. So here's us just trying to help someone figure out what size conference room do we even need. We have these foam blocks, stack them up, we can pull them down, move them around, and we're very quickly and effectively prototyping on collaboration space to figure out what do we actually need. We can move our TV, real quick. What angle do you want to be able to see? How big of a table do we need? Here's another one, kitchen, right? This company thought, hot idea. We'll put a kitchen right in the front of our office. It's going to be great. Everyone's going to want to go there and collaborate. So what did we do? We printed a kitchen out on our plotter, hung it on the wall. For a week, they pretended they were having coffee, in the very front lobby of their office, and they hated it. After they went through the process, they hated the kitchen in the front. People, were burning popcorn, and it just didn't work. And so it saved them from their hot idea, right? So they were able to rethink how they did that. $100,000 kitchen, was avoided in this situation. This is what you want to make sure you do. When you're rapid prototyping, you want to make sure you fail. Fail early, succeed sooner, right? So on your collaboration space, you want to figure out right now what's not working. Some ways in which you can do that are by collecting data from the people who are using them. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll make journals and just hand out journals to people and say, hey, as you're using our rapid space that we have established here out of cardboard and paper and popsicle sticks, write it down, tell us what you're thinking, or give us a comment on a comment card that we've cleverly designed to fold into paper airplanes in case people get bored with the research and they can shoot those around. So something to think about, how do we constantly engage people as we're trying to get information back from them? All right, so then lastly, after you've gone through this rapid prototyping, you want to actually create a plan. So figure out what did you find out from these rapid prototypes? What parts of them worked? What didn't work? So you can create some measurables. It's pretty easy. Ask people in their journal, do you think we should execute on this or not? And then you can show back someone some quantifiable data. Yes, this one should be executed. No, this one shouldn't. Here's why. You could also show how do we have some immediate quick wins, or how do we create a planning grid to help us successfully get from where we know we are today to where we have this really great successful collaboration space that we just so happen to have collaborated on as a group, so we all know in the end why it is the way it is. So that's in essence how you want to run a people-centered design thinking process to determine your unique needs. So if you use sort of these 6 steps here, this is really just an analysis and a synthesis, right? So we're going to start out, we get organized, we find the facts, and frame the challenge. That's the first part. It's easy. If you need to remember anything, it's kind of those 3 things. And then you're going to synthesize. So you're going to generate some ideas, rapid prototype, and write your plan. In the end, if you do this, you'll have this much more meaningful and effective outcome. Again, because you've engaged all of these people who use this space in the process. And your CEO from IBM will be happy as well because you've met that criteria on the top of his list. So that's kind of it. At DORIS, we do a lot of this stuff, and it's very, very helpful if you apply these sorts of thoughts back at your own places of work. Help build your collaboration space. No, that's all I have to say about that.